What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one, I'm going to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to talk about what the data is suggesting for NIO, why tomorrow is going to be another very important day as we have Jerome Powell giving a speech and more data coming out involving NIO. I'm also going to be talking about something else that could affect the share price as we approach tomorrow. But before I break anything down all this information, before I talk about what's going on with the markets and why Tesla's sinking during the after hours, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. NIO is currently up about 1.25% for the day. Very, very flat day overall, very indecisive, going back and forth and back and forth. You could see this on the 4-hour time from how it just went back and forth throughout the day. And if anything, we just closed very flat. And I was saying in the past that NIO should be trying to base at $7, and we have some resistance near 7.4. If anything, we just went back and forth and pretty much did nothing. So the question is, what's going to happen moving forward? I think that starting tomorrow, things could get very exciting. I think that next week could be, next week could be even more exciting for NIO. So what's going on with NIO? NIO is up 1.25%, but the reason why next week could be more exciting is because we have not only more data coming up, but we have Jerome Powell giving a speech, we have NIO's earnings coming out, and we have all these other things going on for the next week. So let's talk about tomorrow first. Let's talk about how things are looking for the market before I break down NIO in particular. What's going on with all this data? What's going on with Tesla? Tesla had the Cybertruck event. It was very, very eventful. We saw Elon Musk roll in inside of one of the Cybertrucks. They went over a lot of the specs, and they primarily talked about the Cyber Beast model, and it was very cool, very, very interesting. And after everything that happened, we ended up seeing them deliver just a couple of the Cybertrucks, and more information was available about it. Now, there's more information on Tesla's website, but what typically happens after these events is Tesla tends to sell off, like a buy the rumor, sell the news event. And right after the event ended, Tesla sank another 2%, and Tesla's currently in the 230s. So we saw a more aggressive sell-off after the event ended. The question is, how will Tesla move going forward? I'll be talking about that in just a few minutes. When it comes to news affecting the markets, all the data, the PCE data, etc., was as expected. I called this out yesterday, and that's some good news for the markets. Going into Friday, which is going to be tomorrow, I just want to call out that 15 minutes after market open, we have the manufacturing PMI data. Then we have the ISM manufacturing coming out another 15 minutes after that at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then, after all the data is out by 10 o'clock a.m., we're going to be listening to Jerome Powell's speech. We'll see what the guy causes. He could cause the market to get rug pulled. He could even cause the market to pump. We'll just have to see what happens at 11 o'clock a.m. Tomorrow. That's going to be very impactful for the markets. Now, when it comes to NIO, the good news is still out there that NIO has been partnering with all these different companies. Volvo, the Polestar, their owners are basically partnering with NIO to improve battery swapping technology. Good news for them as they're continuing to grow and they're collaborating with EV standards. They're working on new swapping technologies and things like that, so it's good news for them. On top of all of this, NIO is collaborating with the UNDP and others out there to once again protect different environments, which is something that they're trying to do as they have a very important mission. So for any company, a mission is very important. What they're trying to achieve, what they're trying to do, that is very, very important. That's part of the backbone of the company. So it's good news that NIO is continuing to maintain their vision to help improve ecosystems and help improve the environment. I don't believe that EV cars are perfect, at least right now. In the present time, the methods to build them for battery swapping is not entirely clean. But in the future, there's potential for it to become a lot more clean relative to fossil fuels. So when it comes to NIO, right, we have 46 million at the current volume. That's very, very important. We're seeing some more volume coming in, not to mention the fact that the price-price ratio is flat, as NIO is performing very flat right now, and there's not really anything changing in the data. I want to remind you all that today is November 30th in the US, and then tomorrow is going to be December 1st. With tomorrow being December 1st and Jerome Powell's speech coming out, there's a good chance that NIO might announce on their Twitter page what their latest deliveries were looking like. If we get some good deliveries numbers, this could cause NIO to bounce. So make sure you're ready for that. Make sure you look out for that in the morning. But let's break down some charts. If we get some good deliveries either tomorrow, I don't know if it's going to come out tomorrow or Saturday. It's most likely going to come out tomorrow. However, I think that this could help NIO bounce and try to push up towards that $8 area. If we get some really good numbers, we have a potential inverse head and shoulders setup. And NIO is trying to base at $7, which is where it has some historical support. If we're bearish and we get some bad numbers relative to before, we could see NIO sink back down towards 7. I think there's a good chance it might try to bounce. So watch for this tomorrow. See if it can break 7.5. If it manages to achieve this, expect some more upside. Looking at SPY, this thing is sinking in the after hours, but before the market closed, we got one more push. This is something that could happen right before the month basically ended. So this is the last month of trading for, not the last month, the last day of trading for November. And we still have this bearish divergence developing on the SPY chart, as you guys can see it right over here. Even on the daily chart, we have this bearish divergence. So in my opinion, although we have like a bullish looking daily candle, I think we're going to either pop a little bit more and then start selling off, or we could just start selling off from here. I think that we're due to eventually come back down towards that 447 to 446 area to fill and reach this 20 EMA. And then if we break this, then the gap fill is coming next towards 440. I still anticipate some downside. I just don't know if we're going to get one more pop thanks to Powell's speech and then drop, or just drop from here. But I think there's a good chance of a sell-off that's coming, and it could be coming for December. Tesla had the Cybertruck event, and if anything, Tesla started to sell off quite aggressively. It was down 1.6% today. Then in the after hours, it started to sell off, hitting 232. This is a bearish signal for Tesla. We're going to be watching it kind of chop around this 230 area to 232. If it loses this, expect it to start selling off towards like the 220, since we have an unfilled gap down here. We have this gap way down here on Tesla as the chart has formed this bearish divergence. And we have this unfilled gap down here to be looking out for at 223. So I think we're going to fill this gap if we lose 230. And we might just be testing that very soon. Tesla looks a bit more bearish. Aapl could also turn bearish. It's actually kind of flat right now. The daily shows it might pop a little bit, retest 191 maybe, then rejects. And I think it's going to eventually make its way down towards 186. The QQQ still closed red despite trying to bounce. It's still closed red, still looking weak. I think this thing is going to eventually retest 388, make its way down towards 385. Then 382 is coming next. So I still anticipate some downside. On Nvda, this is looking bearish. I think I'm going to be watching the 4-hour 200 EMA. If we lose 463, I anticipate it's going to come down to 459. I think there's going to be more downside coming. It might bounce a bit. It might actually try to rebound a little bit in the morning, try to backtest 470, then reject and make its way back down. I still anticipate some downside. Microsoft just barely closed green. They just want us to get it green for the last minute, but I still think Microsoft has downside potential. So my view of the market hasn't changed with these bearish divergences. I think this chart looks bearish and we're about to start sinking. So I still think the same thing about all these different tickers. I think the same thing about like SPY and etc. So we're just going to be watching this carefully, and we're going to be talking more about this later on. As far as NIO goes, if anything, NIO is very choppy, very, very sideways, getting very, very tight, right? It's very, very tight. If we're bullish, you want to see this thing try to break out of this 7.4 area. Once we break this, watch 7.5. If we get above both of those, I think it's going to be pushing back up to the 200 EMA at $8. We're very close to that. So I'm anticipating some upside. I think NIO might bounce, but just to be safe, let's wait and see how deliveries look. Let's wait and see what Jerome Powell causes during his speech at 11 o'clock a.m. tomorrow. And finally, we'll just be very patient as time goes on. All right, guys. And that being said, thank you all so much for listening. I just wanted to make this video very simple, very, very understandable. So please take care. I'll see you guys very soon, and peace out.